Hey guys, welcome to Conceptual Geometry, Lesson 1.5, Word Problems and Mixed Review. All right, first couple examples. As you can see, seems like something's missing. In geometry, we always want a diagram or a figure. So if one is not given to you in the problem, you're going to need to create one. So for word problems, they're going to give us a verbal description, and we need to create the diagram for that description. In example 1, it talks about the complement of an angle is 12 more than twice the angle. Find the measure of both angles. So we need to know some vocab. Complement. We have to remember that complement simply means adds to 90 degrees. So we got to make that connection. Since I do not see a 90-degree angle, I'm going to draw one. Now, the complement of the angle is 12 more than twice the angle. Find the measure of both angles. So there's two angles in this diagram. And this part of it's going to be algebraic, right? It says 12 more than twice the angle. Well, most students jump right to that and they say, oh, I know how to represent that. That's 2x plus 12, and you're 100% correct. But what we forget sometimes is the easiest angle, the angle we should start with, is the angle that's just represented by x. One of the angles will always be x, and then the other one, you have to look at that algebraic description. So 12 more than twice the angle is 2x plus 12. Now, this is a pretty easy setup. Once you see the picture, we've done this starting on day 2. We're going to take these two angles, we're going to add them together and set that equal to 90 degrees. It gives me 2x plus 12 plus x equals 90. Variables are on the same side of the equation. Combine them. 3x plus 12 equals 90. Subtract 12 from both sides. 3x equals 78. Divide by 3. I expect you to put this into the calculator. And that's going to give me 26. So now, before you move on to the next question, let's go back up and reread the original. It says find the measure of both angles. So I need to find these. Well, the one that's just x is easy. That's 26 degrees. And there's two ways you can find the other angle. One method is take the 26 and plug it in here and do 2 times 26 plus 12. Or you know that both of these angles have to add to 90. So what I find a little bit quicker is I'm just going to take 90 minus 26. Okay, so that's going to give me 64. All right, our next example is similar. I'm talking about two angles, but this time they say supplement. So for supplement, we have to remember supplement means add to 180 degrees. That's going to be our straight line. It says the supplement of an angle is 6 more than twice the angle. But again, I need to find the measure of both angles. So there's two angles in this diagram. One of them is going to be x, and the other one's going to be 6 more than twice the angle. That's going to be your 2x plus 6. We talked about this before. Look at those two angles form a straight line, 180 degrees. That's also what supplementary means. So my equation is going to be 2x plus 6 plus x equals 180. Combine your variables. 3x plus 6 equals 180. Let's subtract 6 from both sides. 3x equals 174. Divide by 3. X equals, I believe, 58. So, first angle, x, that's 58 degrees. Again, your two methods for finding the other one, you could take 58 and plug it into this expression right here, 2 times 58 plus 6. Or, because they add up to 180, I'm going to take 180 minus 58. Sorry, it's a little sloppy, but that gets me 122. So I found both angles. Moving on. These are going to be a little bit more challenging, especially when you first do them. In example 3, it says line MN. All right, and what's nice about geometry is the symbols are basically little miniature pictures of what the diagram represents. So I look above MN, I see that line symbol. I have line MN intersects with line OP, at Q. All right, so that's where they cross. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a diagram. Draw a line MN. Doesn't matter how you draw it. Could be a slightly different angle than this, but the key here is that M is on one end of the line, N is on the other. So now I need to draw another line that crosses that, and that's line OP. So you can put O on one end, P on the other, and where they cross has to be Q. So that point right there has got to be Q. Okay, so now it says the measure of angle MQP. So let's trace it. MQP. So your diagram might look a little bit different. Yours might not be on the bottom, it might be on the left, the top, the right. But as long as you're tracing MQP, that angle has to be 2x plus 8. Now let's go on to the next one. OQN. OQN. So wherever that angle is on your diagram, you're going to put 4x minus 42. Now, like I said, they might not be in the exact same location, but they should be in the same position relative to each other. So what I mean by that is your two angles should be across from each other. If they're not across from each other, you probably mixed up your letters somehow. But since they are across from each other, these are what we call vertical angles, remember? And I know all vertical angles are equal. So my equation here is going to be 4x minus 42 equals 2x plus 8. Now, if you notice, your variables are on opposite sides of the equation, so we want to take the smaller one and subtract it over. So I'll subtract 2x from both sides. That gets me 2x minus 42 equals 8. And let's add 42. That gets me 2x equals 50. Divide by 2. And x equals 25. Now what do the directions say? Find the value of x. We don't need to go back in and find the angles. Once you get x, you're done. So I'm just going to box that in and move on to the next example. All right, so this one's going to be similar. I've got line AB. So, okay, let's draw line AB. I'll draw it at a different angle this time just to show you it doesn't really matter. So that's A and that's B. Intersects with line CD. Okay, so I got another line that cuts across. And that's going to be CD. And they cross at E. So, sorry about that. E has got to be that point right there. All right, the measure of angle AEC. So let's trace it. AEC. Again, on your diagram, might be in a different location, but wherever that angle is, I have to put 2x plus 8. Then I have measure of angle CEB. CEB. So trace those letters on your diagram, and wherever that angle is, inside there, you're putting the 4x plus 10. Again, yours might be in a different location, but they should be in the same position relative to each other. So what I mean by that, if you notice mine, are next to each other, what we call adjacent angles. So yours should be adjacent to each other and form a straight line. See how these two form a straight line? So anytime that happens, I know they add up to 180 degrees. My equation, therefore, would be 2x plus 8 plus 4x plus 10 equals 180 degrees. And all this stuff's on the same side. So I'm going to combine my x's, and I'll combine my numbers. So doing that, 2x and 4x is 6x. 8 plus 10 is 18. So 6x plus 18 equals 180. I'll subtract 18 from both sides. That gives me 6x equals 162. Divide by 6. And again, I expect you guys to be using a calculator. I can't show you using a calculator here. I don't have that option on my desktop. So that's going to give me 27. And again, go back up and reread the question. Find the value of x. That's what I did. So now I'm done. All right, let's do some mixed review here. First, we'll review two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So in the first review problem, it says find angle S, and I'm given this angle here, which is angle S, it's 5x minus 80. I need to recognize this shape. What shape is this? Hopefully you guys recognize that as acute. So look at the other angle that's given to you. What shape is that? Also acute. So since both of these angles are acute, they must be equal when I'm talking about two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So I've got 5x minus 80 equals 3x plus 10. Again, my variables are on different sides, so I'll subtract the smaller one over. That gives me 2x minus 80 equals 10. Add 80 to both sides. 2x equals 90. Divide by 2. X equals 45. The directions say find angle S. So there's angle S. I have to take this 45 and I have to plug it in here. That means I have to take 5 times 45 minus 80. So I'm going to throw that right into the calculator, and I believe that gives me 145 degrees. All right, example 2. Looks similar. I mean, the transversal is going the other way, but basically I give you two angles. This says find the measure of angle P, which is this one here. But recognize the shapes. Look at the shape of this angle. Hopefully you guys recognize this as obtuse. Look at the shape of that one. Hopefully you recognize that one as acute. So since this is obtuse and that's acute, they are not equal. What I have to do is add these up and set that equal to 180 degrees. So I've got 4x plus 10 plus 2x plus 26 equals 180. I'm going to combine my x's and then combine my numbers. So that gives me 6x plus 36 equals 180. Subtract 36 from both sides. 6x equals 144. Divide by 6. X equals 24. All right, so now I need to find angle P. I'm going to take this 24 here and plug it in to that expression. So that's going to give me 2 times 24 plus 26. All right, so let's see. 2 times 24 is 48 plus 26, I believe, is 74. Now, one thing I want to point out, and you probably recognize this on example 1, and maybe if you're working ahead, you might have thought you did it incorrectly. Sometimes when we work out these algebraic solutions, the angle doesn't match up with the shape. And we try to eliminate this as much as possible, but you might recognize, say, hey, that says it's 145 degrees, but look, it's acute, and that angle should be obtuse. And occasionally this will happen, but mainly what I want you to recognize is that these have the same shape to start. That's why we know that those are equal, all right? But this measure doesn't match up with this shape. Again, that only really happens in an algebraic solution. All right, last couple we'll do real quick. Find x, find each angle. Review, we actually did this in a word problem, the first example. You need to recognize, well, hey, that's 90 degrees, so that plus that equals 90. X minus 4 plus x plus 10 equals 90. Combine like terms, I've got 2x plus 6, right? It's negative 4 and a positive 10 equals 90. Subtract 6 from both sides. Got 2x equals 84. Then I'll divide by 2. X equals 42. So to find each angle, notice neither one of them is just plain old x. So what I'm going to do here is take 42 plus 10. That's going to be 52. So there's one of the angles. And this one's going to be 42 minus 4. That one's going to be 38. You could have also done 90 minus 52. That would have worked as well. And example 4. You have to recognize the relationship from the picture. So I've got two adjacent angles here. that form a straight line. So anytime we have a straight line, remember those add up to 180 degrees. So I've got 3x plus 15 plus x plus 25 equals 180 degrees. Combining like terms, 4x plus 40 equals 180. Subtract 40. That gives me 4x equals 140. Divide by 4. So I get x equals 35. Now the directions here are a little bit more specific. It says find the value of the acute angle. Well, that one's obtuse. This one is acute. So that's the one I need to find the value of. Well, if x is 35, that's simply going to be 35 plus 25, and that's going to give me 60. Okay, so that is lesson 5. Mainly review what was new today, drawing the diagrams from the verbal description, those word problems. Now you should be able to complete Delta Math Homework 1.5. As usual, guys, please reach out if you have any questions, and we'll see you soon.